I'm Ben Barch with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you know that there's a waiting list of more than 50 children in our community waiting for a mentor? It's just only a few hours a month of your time to invest in a child and make a difference in your community. Be a mentor, become a big. Visit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida and click on Be a Big. Thank you.
I think value is critical. You know, you have to get the value of the players right.
Chan outside they go. Good catch by Jones. Better move, the dive, and a Detroit touchdown. Marvin Jones.
And the key word there was value. That isn't always the most expensive player.
And he can throw. He's left-handed. Looking, but the defense does its job, and he gets taken down at the 31-yard line by Malcolm Brown.
You're just like building a stock portfolio.
First down, and an interception. Shaquille Griffin.
If you get a bunch of overpriced stocks, you buy high and sell low, eventually that catches up with you.
I see the vision that Coach Meyer is trying to build here.
And now throwing deep, and he's picked off at the 45-yard line. Rayshawn Jenkins on his way back.
You know, Coach Meyer wins. Everything's there. The track record is there. Why not Jacksonville?
I can only imagine, you know, we coming from where we was last year to one of the most winningest teams going into next season. I want to be a part of that. We talk about this time next year going into the season, and we had that same discussion like, man, you said we was going to do it. I want to have those type of talks. I want to be part of that history. So that's the part that I'm believing in, that I'm excited for. So, yeah, there was no sell pitch. I seen it coming myself. I seen everything kind of unfolding. I just wanted to be a part of it.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Tom McManus.
All right, everybody, happy Friday to you. 2 weeks from today, we will reflect on the amazing pair of players that the Jacksonville Jaguars likely selected in the first round of the NFL draft. Tommy Mack is here this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Thomas. How are you?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
Good.
Friday, baby.
Yeah. How's the band?
We're defunct.
Are you?
Yes.
I did not know that.
I
wasn't
know. I haven't announced it.
I'm sorry. I didn't try
it's just, let's just say this. It's too much.
Band issues?
Yes. Drama.
Drama?
It's just too much stuff. It's just too much.
That's
my part, man.
What happened?
I'm the lead singer, man.
So who tore it apart? Was it the drummer?
It's always the
No,
drummers.
you know, it wasn't any one person. It was just a combination, and then it wasn't fun. It was like so much stress getting a show together,
Right.
doing all this stuff. Can this guy make it? Can that guy make it? Have we rehearsed enough? You'd think you could just go out and play some music and have some fun, but
Right.
it just eventually. Anyway, so I look at it like this. It was a bucket list. I got up there and performed, so I did it. I'm not saying I won't do it again because I do enjoy it, but I had to put it on the shelf. Sideways went sideways.
What would you call yourself?
And now
A
it's
classic rock lead singer or
not total everything. Yeah,
rock?
I guess more just rock.
Rock singer.
Yeah.
All right, for those looking for a rock singer,
no.
front your band.
Yeah. Send me a note on Twitter.
He's got a shelf life of about, 10 months or so.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know how long.
Listen,
Hey,
you got to
I
stick
really
and
didn't
move
know
sometimes.
that had happened. I wasn't,
No, it's cool. Yeah. I just really, not that it's any big.
No, I know. I just like the look on your face.
It was fun. It was funny. Yeah. We met my oldest daughter's friends, family from Rhode Island, and they were like, "Tell us about the band. Tell us about the band." I'm like, nah, the band's over. Like, what? The band's over. They're going. My wife finally was like, it was just a fun. Like
you were just a shooting star, Tom.
The band is broken up.
Yeah.
Tom will never be the same. I'm still trying to put the
right.
pieces back together
He's
in
in
the
a
house.
funk. He won't come out of the closet.
Yep. No pills though. I didn't go down the pill route.
That's
So I'm
good.
good. I'm feeling all right.
That's good. A cautionary tale. The band, and
That's right.
Once it went through the name change, I felt like things were on a rocky.
Oh, nice. You know what? You're right. There's a crack in the armor.
Was that what it was? Was that the?
I don't know.
I wanted my name.
The
Bunny Rabbits. Should have been the Bunny Rabbits the whole time. All right. Whatever the case.
Anyway, it was fun while it lasted.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. That is a pretty cool bucket list thing to check off.
Yeah.
There. So
now I got to learn how to surf and play guitar, and I'm almost there. And I'm good.
There you go. I don't.
That's a bucket list for me.
I don't have the patience to learn how to play guitar.
I know, but I it's just an accomplishment.
My goofy self
I've
used
tried.
to surf, so if I could surf, you certainly could.
And I can play guitar.
See?
Ooh.
There you go.
Hey,
You got something. What do you got? What do you got, man?
Man, I could entertain the crowd. I could jump there. I'm getting hype right
Listen,
now.
the band's here. It's right here. The four of us.
Call it Flex Friday.
It is a little bit of a Flex Friday here with Tom McManus in the house. I know you read the SI piece on Trevor Lawrence.
I did multiple times.
Yeah? What were your thoughts?
The first time I read, I stopped reading like halfway through. I'm like, I'm one of those people. Like, I don't really care what the athlete has to say. Play great, do great in the community, be a good person. I don't really, and it's not fair. I don't, it's when you read an article, you don't see the tone, you don't hear the tone, you don't see the body language when he's answering it. So I don't know. Then I read it again, and then I read it again this morning. I don't know. Would I want my soon-to-be franchise quarterback to say, you know what? I'm looking forward to being the franchise QB of the Jags. We're going to win some titles. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be at my best. Yada. Because, look, you are, whether you like it or not, you are now the franchise. You're it. It's your face.
It's Trevor Town, buddy.
It's you.
Yeah.
On and off the field.
Fence, outside 1010XL.
On and off the
Trevor
field.
Town.
I mean, that's what the position carries. That's what the weight carries. So, I hope he's ready for that. There were a couple lines in there. Jordan Palmer made a comment like he's going to feel less like he did at Clemson, like being the face of Jacksonville. I'm like, I don't.
Right, you
I don't
may
know
be
if
underestimating the National Football League.
I don't believe that. He's going to be under tremendous pressure, and it comes with the territory. So I'm not mad at the kid. Whatever.
I'm not mad at him at all.
He wants to be great. I like that. But most athletes want to be great. It seemed a little, and granted, he's young, and I don't want to take too much big of a deal. But, like after the Ohio State loss, he's like, well, I know I did all I could do. And I'm like, well, you just can't say that as a quarterback, as the leader of your team. Hey, if you felt like you played great, and then keep that inside.
Yeah, I don't feel like he was saying it like the rest of the team let me down. I think he was just saying, look, I left it all out there. Right. I did what I could do, and I can live with the result if it doesn't go my way every time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some people have a hard time with that because, like, you got a guy like Tom Brady who it seems like eats him alive with every loss, right? And it's that drive, and you see these veteran players. Every member of the Bucs is back this year. That hasn't happened since the 1970s for a Super Bowl champion. They want to be a part of it.
Right.
And that doesn't guarantee if you have Brady's attitude, you have to have his skills and all those other things that go along with it. But I do think that people in general like their athletes to come across as a little bit cutthroat. You know what I mean? And I can't speak for everybody, but I do think that there is some of that, wouldn't you like him to, I described it yesterday as like Tiger Woods had that list of Jack Nicklaus's accomplishments when he was a kid.
Yep.
Wouldn't you love to have Trevor say, here's all the things Tom Brady did, and I'd like to top them all? Because it's not the chip on the shoulder thing. That doesn't bother me in the least. I don't even understand that.
Well,
I get that because he's never been in a position where he's been the underdog, right? He's always been kind of like, oh, wow.
Right. He'd have to manufacture it.
Right.
Like, if it was going to exist, it'd have to be, like, and when he brought it up, you'd be like, that's chip?
I mean, but that's what Jordan did his whole career, right?
Yeah.
He manufactured
it worked for Jordan,
slights, and it worked for him. He doesn't want to be that guy. I have no problem with that. He's clearly motivated. The guy wins everywhere he plays in high school and college, 34-2 at Clemson. I mean, it's hard to argue with the record. Right. It was more, to me, like the comments by his dad and his coach, like,
he could take it or leave it.
He could walk away at any time. You know, that's the one that like stood out to me. Like, 5 years down the road, let's hope that's not any time.
Well, here's the thing, though. If he wins a championship in that first 5 years, hey, see you later. Enjoy your life.
Honestly, that's a really good question.
You know what I mean? I would.
Would you be content if you spent the first overall pick on Trevor Lawrence, the Jags won one Super Bowl in the first 3 years, and he retired?
We're 5. Give him 5. I mean, 3's tough.
Give him his rookie deal.
Yeah, give him his rookie deal.
Like from a Jaguar standpoint, like you say 5. I'm like, well, I get 5 years and a Super Bowl. That's a half a decade. That's a long time. I'm trying to think like how many what would you give up just to have that Super Bowl? Would you be willing to go right back into the pool and be looking for your next quarterback?
Yeah,
You know,
I would.
And
At the end of the day, we want him to win, right?
Look at Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
They had Carson Wentz and Nick Foles.
Yeah, right.
Right? And Carson Wentz played like an MVP. Then Nick Foles came in and played like a superhero.
Yep.
They made a statue for him.
Yep.
They're both gone. I think Philly fans are like,
yes,
all right.
okay. We
All right,
still
we're
got
good.
the
We
title.
got a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right.
we want another one, but
and obviously, look,
what's the appetite?
I'm not trying to suggest. I really am not trying to suggest that Trevor Lawrence is going to play 3 or 5 years or whatever the case may be. As he expressed, he loves the game of football.
Yeah.
He's just not going to be defined by the game of football. That's the way I take it.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, especially as you get older, you start that mentality, hey, football doesn't define me. I'm more than just a football player. We all go through it, but at the end of the day, you're an NFL football player. That's your life while you're the NFL player. I believe, look, while he's playing, he's going to give it his all.
Right.
He is. To be the best that he can be at his position, that's great. I want to see how he reacts. This goes for any QB rookie as well. When there's the struggle, when there's the anguish, how does he react to that? And again, another comment he made about the 8-figure, he wouldn't feel right taking an 8-figure contract or whatever. It's God's plan. Right? So, You know what? After his 5th year, maybe he says, hey, I'll take $9 million a year for 10 years and I'm out. I don't know. You know what I mean? Or he's saying, you know what?
I think
maybe after 5 he's done.
Take that money and give it away.
That I got this money because God wanted me to have the money. As he said, that seems a little narcissistic. Like I'm lucky enough to have, or fortunate enough, whatever word you want to use, to have the good DNA. You got to have the DNA to be able to do it. But then to put into work to earn that money. But it's not like I think what he's saying is, like, when he was born, God didn't touch him on the forehead and said, Trevor Lawrence, you deserve $29 million a year. You know what I mean? Like,
they call it God-given ability for a reason, so whatever.
Ability, but it's what you do with it.
Of course, no doubt. And look, I say this, regardless of what he says, you don't know what can happen in a player's career. I always chuckle and say, oh, you're going to have him for 10 years. You don't know that. Yeah. Injuries happen, things happen. You just don't know what you're going to have. I'm confident saying you got him at least for his rookie contract. That's 5 years.
I'm not.
So I'm taking
not
the risk. I'm taking the risk. You know what I mean? I don't care about 10 years down the road. I care about now.
Yeah. Okay, if they told you Trevor Lawrence is only going to play 7 years, are you not drafting him?
Right.
Like, seriously, are you going to go, well, no, now Mac Jones does look more.
What will he do in a decade?
I don't know.
Right. He'll
Urban's
play 15
worried about
years.
year 8
I
of the
don't
regime.
care about year 15. I care about now.
If you would, hit us up with today's question of the day.
The Jaguars Today question of the day brought to you by Carpet Man Flooring, where estimates are free all day, every day. Reads, the William Hill Sportsbook has set the Jacksonville Jaguars 2021 win total to 6. So for the 2021 season, would you take the over, the under, or does 6 sound just about right to you?
All right, so there you go. Basically, will they win more than 6, less than 6, or right on the number, which, they could have made it an easy 2-question poll if they had gone with like 6.5.
Yeah, right.
But I guess a tie counts as a half win anyway.
Hey, can I add something with Trevor? So it was interesting.
Tom's new to the program.
I must have
yes, Tom.
Oh, hey,
Tom.
thank you.
Yes.
Urban's comments about you got to hate losing.
Yes.
I don't get the sense that Trevor hates losing. Not that he's lost, he kind of just takes it in stride. I wonder if he's going to have that mentality that his head coach is looking for.
See, and that's the thing. Like, that's always been the football way. There have been guys like Trevor Lawrence, right, over the years, but the guys that get praised the most are the feeling that, on the one hand, like, wow, Urban Meyer, that's fantastic. Hate losing, grind. And then it wears him down to a nub, and he's got heart issues, and then he, you know what I mean? No,
those
seriously,
old heart issues,
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, where Trevor Lawrence seems to have a little perspective and a little balance in life, does that mean that he doesn't want to go out there and be the best he can be? I don't think that does mean that.
No, he clearly wants to be the best he can be.
Right.
My hope is that he wants his team to be the best they can
I'm
be
sure
as
he
well.
does, but I guess
it didn't come across as that, but again, that's – and by the way, the writer, I don't know the writer, but I read it again. He had a kind of a negative take on the NFL as a whole if you read. He made a couple comments that I was like, really it was petty and something else that NFL fans are, and the NFL as a whole it was just really kind of a negative slant. I'll have to look it up in the break and read it to you.
I didn't really get that.
Well, maybe I read it wrong, but I'll read it to you off the air.
All right, so question of the day today, presented by the Carpet Man Flooring. Will the Jags win more than 6, less than 6, or exactly on the number if you had to predict as of today? And that's what we ask you to do today as our question of the day. We have a boatload of mock drafts coming your way on this Friday, 2 weeks out, less than 2 weeks out now from the start of the NFL draft. We'll go through a little recap with Tom, get his opinion on some of the best players drafted in Jaguar history. We did our round-by-round polls, and they wrapped up. We did undrafted free agents yesterday, so we'll look at the results of that as well. And if you want to be a part of it, on Twitter, at @MD_1010XL, at 1010XL, Fat Tony, should be Fat Profit, at Meathead55, at IME to the T, 641-1010 on the phone lines and the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, and we will be talking about that Bobcat video coming up as well. All right, Jaguars today here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
When I went and studied the Patriots, I had a guy named Teddy Bruschi and Mike Vrabel and Tom Brady. What did they all share? The absolute distaste and hatred of losing. Hatred of losing. If we can get that, and that's my job, we have to get the hatred of losing around this organization.
Now more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Yeah, and that's the example of kind of the extreme attitudes that football brings out, right? It's not enough in some eyes to just want to succeed, do the work to succeed. You have to feel it, in Urban Meyer's point of view, to hate it, to have it consume you. And I'm sure Trevor Lawrence doesn't like losing. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's 34-2. He seems to put in the work to assure that he doesn't lose very often.
While you're in the NFL, employed by the NFL, except the offseason, you need to be consumed with your job in the NFL. I believe that. And that's for your own individual to be as good as you can be, and what you're going to bring to the team to make them successful. So in the off season, you can do whatever you want. You have your time off. You go whatever you want to do. But when it's time to start for that year, yeah, you should be. Especially my franchise QB, he better be consumed with winning and not like. I don't care if he hates losing. That seems a little cliche to me. Although I know what Urban's saying. You hate losing so much. That you do everything you can. But normally you're doing. I mean, a lot of guys might blow off a little bit of film study, yada, yada, right. But for the majority, you're doing everything you can to try to win.
And at the same time, like, let's say things are going great. You're a team that's 11-2, and you lose your third game of the season. Now, you don't want to just go, no big deal, whatever, but at the same time, it's okay to have a little perspective like, all right, we're still 11-3 here. We're still in good shape. Let's correct what led to us not winning this football game.
Yep.
But if you're 11-3 and you become a basket case because you can't handle the fact that you lost that game, that's not a healthy attitude. No,
definitely not. What Trevor said, he doesn't stew, and that's good. You can't. You gotta learn from that game what you did wrong, how to get better, and then you put it. It's like a corner getting burnt for a long touchdown early in the game. You got to put that behind you and move on.
Memory.
And I think you have to combine all the information we have, right? This is one article with one guy doing a cover story about Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
You add to that, when Matt was in with us for Crosstalk yesterday talking about they're going to have Dabo on the Trevor Cast next week.
Awesome.
And one of the things that Dabo told them was he never saw Trevor not, after practice, do extra work on the stuff that he felt like he needed to be working on to get better at. If you combine those things, then the concerns about, well, is he really going to put in the work? Gone. Right? Like, that's not a concern for me with Trevor Lawrence. I think the article gives you some insight into the character of Trevor Lawrence and kind of the things that he prioritizes in his private life and how he compartmentalizes these different things. It's not quite the same as some of the other guys, if we've talked about that NFL mentality. He doesn't seem to have that, that to the nth degree, that kind of thing. But I think the player what you hear his teammates say about him, what you hear his coaches say about him, I have no concern about the work or how important it is to him to be as successful as he can be.
Yeah, listen, I think Urban Meyer's job is to, take Trevor and make him your franchise QB that's going to lead you to championships. The kid wants to be great. Now it's for the team. He's got to make sure the team is great as well.
Speaking of which, he hit Urban Cut 2 here. Urban, this was on with Michael Irvin. Urban Meyer with Michael Irvin. Urban saying that the team is leaning towards taking a certain quarterback with the number 1 pick, but that decision will be made with the owner as well.
That's the direction we're leaning. We're headed in that direction in case something changes. That's going to be the ownership level. At this point, we've done our homework. It's very close. There's some very good quarterbacks out there, but that's going to be an owner, Shad Khan, myself and Trent Baalke. It's pure cooperation about this, but this will be the biggest decision made certainly in recent history of the Jaguars, maybe because this will set the path.
Look, if I'm Shad Khan and I do own the team, I can flex and do anything I want. If Shad Khan alone were making this decision, I think the decision's already made.
Yeah.
But should the owner have any say in this decision, really? I mean, honestly, you're hiring Urban Meyer and Trent Baalke to run your football team because you've sucked your entire time except for 1 year, and you're going to tell me that if Shad Khan said we're switching it to Zach Wilson, that's cool? Seriously. I mean,
I agree.
that
I would
seems
not.
ridiculous to me.
First of all, with all due respect, Shad Khan I don't think he really knows the game of football as well as you need to in order to make that decision, first and foremost. And number 2, that you're right. You hired Urban and Trent. They're the guys. They're the ones.
Right.
Now, could we get your stamp of approval? Sure.
Now where I could
you're going to change our mind?
Let's say,
as
a hypothetical, and Urban clearly was talking about leaning towards taking Trevor, and that's the direction we're going. Taking Trevor Lawrence, okay? But let's say that it wasn't, right? And they say, you know what, this Justin Fields guy or this Zach Wilson guy or Mac Jones, whatever. You see, we've done 8 weeks of a 10-week thing called the Trevor Cast, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge sign hanging on the gate out here, welcome to Trevor Town, when you come to 1010XL. Now, the marketing that's going to come along with the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, if you went, that's where I could see Shad Khan going, wait a minute. You're telling me we're not taking that guy? And you're taking him? I couldn't see Shad not wanting Trevor Lawrence.
The player, it makes sense to me anyway, just comparing the players. Sure. I want Trevor Lawrence. I think he's the best player in this draft, generational type quarterback prospect, right? It's easy for me to get to that point with this whole thing. I have had half a dozen friends of mine that are buying season tickets this year that have told me, they're like, look, they don't draft Trevor Lawrence. I'm calling and canceling the day they do it. I am going to the stadium to see Trevor. That's why I'm back in, which you can feel however you want to about those fans, and that's the way they feel about going back into the stadium. But there are a bunch of people in this town, that's the bar. It's Trevor Lawrence. We're getting Trevor, and if you pulled that carpet out from underneath him, I don't know what it would look like.
Who's the Browns owner? Jimmy Haslam, right?
Yeah.
The story goes that he woke up the morning of the draft a few years back, and he saw a homeless person, and the guy, I forget the exact way it went, but something like the guy's like, who are you taking? He goes, who do you want us to take? And he said, you got to take Manziel.
Yeah.
And so he was like, that was cemented it for him. I don't want an owner on a whim deciding that, man, wouldn't that be fun to have Johnny Manziel running around? You're right, Tony. Trevor Lawrence isn't just an attraction. He is an attraction, but he's an attraction because he's so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that comes along with it.
It's the combination of all of it.
But think about this, the idea. If we're leaning towards Trevor, the idea that Shad would suggest anything other than that would be lunacy, right? But at the same time, if you really hire these guys and they said Justin Fields is the guy, and this is the way we're leaning, Shad, and Shad goes, I think we'll sell more tickets with Trevor.
Yeah.
Do you want that? You know what I mean? I don't think you should.
No, I agree. And that's the other side of it. Hey, Shad's got to, we're all in alignment. Remember, that was the original quote from their first conference. So I don't know. What if they're thinking, let's not even put that idea out there. People be jumping from the freaking bridges.
There's no issue. Yeah. I mean, he's the number one guy in both lists. Let's get Anthony up in Long Island, wants to check in this morning on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Anthony.
How's it going, guys? Nice to talk to you again.
You too.
Haven't called in a few months because there hasn't been much to talk about other than we're drafting Trevor Lawrence. But it's amazing how, around this time, the biggest thing that, the media tries to do is just create some stories. And it just seems like, Trevor has a little bit of a surfer guy, surfer dude attitude, which is great. I'd rather have a guy that's laid back and not stressed out all the time anyway. But I'm in New York, so I listen to the radio station on my way home every night. And these guys on ESPN radio, they are hysterical. And people that are calling in about how they don't want Trevor Lawrence anymore, a lot of Jets fans, it actually really makes me laugh. So I was looking forward to, listening to 1010XL today just to hear some, sort of level-headedness about the whole situation. So it is funny that these guys up here are super ecstatic about Zach Wilson and are super turned off to Trevor Lawrence now.
Well, of course they
Simply
are.
because
It's called you're a little psychological protection for yourself.
It's a good thing you don't want him. You're not getting him.
Guess what we'd be doing? Seriously, if the Jags had the number 2 pick, would you really want to come out here every day and go, oh, man, if we only had Trevor Lawrence? Because you're not getting Trevor Lawrence.
No.
So you got to adjust to what you're getting, and you try to convince yourself, like, well, this is nice, too.
Look, did you see that crossbody throw?
That's amazing, right? He's got moxie.
By the way, there is a retired New York quarterback that won 2 Super Bowls that was pretty laid back.
Yeah.
His name's Eli Manning. Yeah. He was that guy. I mean, he had that same attitude. Hey,
there's a current
shrug
one
it off.
that has the opposite, and he's won 7. So
Yeah.
I'll just throw that out there, too. But, and by the way, what do you mean there's been nothing to talk about in the last few months? Urban Meyer, new GM.
Yeah, really.
All the free agents.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
There's
What are you
nothing
talking
going
about?
We're just hanging around down here in Jacksonville.
Just,
picking daisies.
All right, let's come back and take a look at some mocks for the 25th pick, the 33rd, the 45th pick, because that's where the interest lies. Chris Trapasso continues to call Trevor Lawrence, in his opinion, the best quarterback prospect ever.
Whoa.
So I like his mocks. His mocks shoot up near the top. We'll take a peek at those. If you want to get in, 641-1010 is the way to do it. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, let's see what the pundits are saying now with less than 2 weeks to go about what the Jaguars will do with their draft capital near the top of the draft. CBS pumps out those mock drafts like no other outlet. I mean, daily.
Yes, they do.
Every single day, somebody's doing a new one over there. They've got a lot of them on board. Chris Trapasso, friend of the program, is what he said about Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect ever, so yeah, the Jags are picking him here. Period. Done. And I literally don't think he's being sarcastic. In his opinion, he thinks he's the best prospect coming out of college. Doesn't guarantee that he's better.
Well, let's go back. So compare him to Luck. You remember Luck coming out of Stanford?
Sure. Luck's a little thicker, a little more physical, but I don't. There were really no.
We didn't see a lot of Luck because he's on the West Coast.
We saw. I watched enough of Andrew Luck because he was a Heisman contender.
That's right.
Back then, and I mean, I don't remember there being any knocks on Luck's game.
No.
Right.
I don't know what the knocks are on Trevor's game though either. Other than maybe his frame's a little narrow.
Yeah.
But he obviously held up at Clemson, and he can put some more weight on. And I think part of that, him weighing 213 at the pro day, was probably not being able to work out because of the shoulder surgery that was impending.
Yeah.
So, you got him, you got Manning, right? Peyton Manning. But remember, Peyton Manning, there was a debate, Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf, who's going to really be the more successful pro. So, I mean, I think you could have argued Peyton Manning's arm strength, right? Like, Manning didn't have that John Elway arm.
I was waiting for us to get to Elway because that arm.
And that's right. Elway is generally considered the gold standard in terms of being a prospect. He was big.
Yeah.
He's, built, strapping. Cannon arm. Could throw
Flick
on
it.
the move.
Yep.
Could run. Could do.
Got it out quick.
Pretty much anything. It could throw it. Throw it through a brick wall.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Obviously, very smart.
Yep.
And it took all those years for Denver to put together the team that could win it.
Of course.
I felt like Elway should almost get more credit for the 3 Super Bowls he dragged Denver to because I didn't think they were Super Bowl caliber teams.
Yeah, good point.
Without him. Then they get there and they get smacked, and it's like, whatever. But
right.
Then it was, Elway handed off to Terrell Davis for a couple of years, and then he won a couple.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
So still, I think the Jag fans would take 5 Super Bowl appearances from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, a couple of wins,
especially in the first 5 years. To get the hell out of here. We're on to the next one.
Like the Denver thing with Elway. Like you're wondering, are we going to really squander this entire career without a championship? Because he had the 3 appearances, the blowout loss after blowout loss.
It's terrible.
And then finally, I mean, I remember getting to the point. I think they played Green Bay in the first one, right? In Atlanta in the second one.
Correct.
Well, that team they had in '96 that you guys went up there and beat.
Oh, they were phenomenal.
I mean, that might have been the best of all of them.
Yeah.
And when they came up short that year, I'm sure the talk up in Denver was, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, are we ever going to get over the top with this guy?
And then they ran it back the next 2 years.
The next year they did it,
They were 13-3 that year.
Yeah.
They were loaded.
All right, so Trevor Lawrence, this is Trapasso. Let's just run through these. Trapasso got Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, who's now the betting favorite to go third overall.
Fran.
Yeah, I think.
What's this Mac Jones talk? You think it's smoke? Or you think it's real?
Apparently, guys like Schefter, McShay, Ian Rappaport, they keep saying this is what they're hearing. My question is, who are you hearing it from?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're not hearing it from San Francisco, what does it matter if you're like, well, the guy in Atlanta says, I think I know Kyle Shanahan pretty well, and I think he'll take Mac Jones. Okay. That doesn't mean he's right.
No, right. But they must hear from multiple people like, hey, I'm hearing more that, I keep hearing Mac Jones from different people. I don't know.
Well, they made the trade, and basically the day after they made the trade was Alabama having their second pro day. And San Francisco shows up over for Mac Jones' second pro day.
Right.
Shanahan's front row seat for Mac to have his second workout. And so everyone's connecting all these dots. They made the move, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, now Justin Fields has had his second pro day.
Yeah.
And San Francisco and Shanahan were front row. They got to basically pick part of the script for Fields to go through for the pro day that he had. I've thought that Fields should have been ahead of Jones this whole time so that everything else seems to be catching up with it. Doesn't surprise me all that much. The Mac Jones thing always surprised me. The idea that San Fran would trade up to 3 to get him. They might still go that direction with it, but if I was making the decision, I would have gone with
How about
Fields
over Wilson or Wilson over Fields for you?
I still I haven't broken down film on any of these guys, but just watching them, I don't understand how Justin Fields isn't considered the best, the second best with Trevor Lawrence, but right there at the top. I mean, what does he need to do? He plays better competition. He puts up ridiculous numbers.
Yep.
He's size-wise, he's probably bigger.
He's bigger.
They list him at 6'3". Does Justin Fields look 6'3" to you?
What
do they measure him at his pro day? Is he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He looks about that.
He looks like 6'1" to me when I see him on the field. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody gets bumped up a little bit.
I bet he's got Wilson by 25, close to 30
I
pounds.
think the real allure with Wilson is his throwing motion's like perfect. Like that's what you'd hope every QB looks like that. That doesn't mean he's going to be a winning QB in the NFL.
Right.
But that's their thinking. Like this kid's got all the physical tools. Mentally he checks out. They it's all upside.
To me, Justin Fields can take the rigors of the NFL better.
He could.
Than Zach Wilson. I think he's
would
built
imagine.
better. I mean, he showed you how tough he was. He got hurt against Clemson, kept playing, played in the championship game. Anyway, so he's
6'2.5" for Fields.
Is that what he measured in at?
Yeah.
I told you he wasn't 6'3". Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance on a trade up. The Broncos coming up to get him. And then Mac Jones lasting, I think, to pick 15 where New England would take him. So I don't want to get too hung up on all these. But Jags taking Rondell Moore in this one. Says, would Urban Meyer be able to pass on Rondell here? No way.
At the 5'7" kid?
Yes, and they list him here at 5'9", 180. Like, everyone's talking about, he's the next Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is closer in size to Jamar Chase than Rondell Moore is to Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek's not small.
Tyreek's 5'10", and he's thick, and Chase is 6 foot and like a half inch. Right. So he's 2.5 inches shorter than Chase, and yet Rondell Moore is 3 inches shorter than Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And all right, he's managed to play 7 games in 2 years because he can't stay on the field because he's tiny.
Not for me.
Not for me either,
I like all these guys who think they got exactly what Urban wants in the draft figured out too.
Right, because because Purdue, he went off against Ohio State and Urban saw it.
Yep.
Well, I hope he watched the film of Trayvon Merrick and all these other guys as well. Anyway, he's got more going there to the Jags. Wyatt Davis, a guard out of Ohio State at pick 33, and then Kelvin Joseph, a corner from Kentucky, with the 45th pick in the draft there. That is one. We've got Jonathan Jones. Yes, the Jonathan Jones at CBS going with Lawrence. Without Lawrence, Urban Meyer is still doing TV this fall. He's the most complete quarterback prospect of at least the past 9 years. Okay, then he's got Mac Jones, though, to San Francisco. Wow. He's got the Patriots trading up to 4 to get Trey Lance. And Justin Fields goes 7th here to the Broncos. In this, he had Atlanta trading down to 9. What did he have him doing? He had Atlanta trading down to this. This is the one where they were trading down with the Patriots. But there was one somebody had, excuse me, where they traded down with Denver. It might have been the Trapasso one. Okay. And then they traded back up to 7. And it might have been for Pitts at that point in time. But anyway, those were the quarterbacks are going. Denver takes Justin Fields in this. And with the 25th pick in the draft, the Jaguars take Christian Barmore. Yeah. And, you know.
I feel like, to me, like the 25th, 33, 45, look, another corner, wide out, and an O-lineman, and I'd be really happy with that. You know what I mean? Like, you give Trevor maybe another weapon. You give him some more protection, even if it's depth, it's okay. You know what I mean? And then you get maybe you get your slot corner to start off.
Yeah, I could be happy with that, but I could also be happy taking none of those spots. You know what I mean? Like, I could see him going safety with Trayvon Merrick, right? Let's say they took him at 25, and then Barmore's there at 33. You take him at 33, and then they go tight end at 45, right? So, I mean, like,
maybe.
Depending on who the players
I just don't
are.
feel like we need, I think people, because Tyson went back to Pittsburgh, that we now desperately need a D lineman. I just don't feel like are you going to add to that group? Yeah. Do you have to have one in the first round with that second pick?
Well, it depends on, do you feel like Barmore is so head and shoulders above the rest of the field that this is not a great year for interior D linemen, right? So they say. So is he so far ahead of the field?
Is he number 1 at 25?
At the position,
That's what I'm
most
saying,
people
right?
feel like he is, or Levi Onwuzurike out of Washington.
I saw Matt Miller yesterday tweeted something about Barmore that he's hearing that teams really like him, and that if
I've seen a lot of mocks with him in the teens.
If he's the second or third defender in the draft selected, that he wouldn't be surprised at this
I
point.
see him going in the mid-teens in a lot of mock drafts. And here's another one. A guy did a full 7 rounds, and he broke it down by team. This is Tyler Sullivan. Recently at CBS. I had him going Trevor Lawrence, Trayvon Merrick, Christian Barmore. Had him taking Rondell Moore then at 45. See, I could deal with that a little bit better. Like 25th pick in the draft on a 5'7" wide receiver.
No, definitely.
There are a lot of good wide receivers in this.
I might even wait to the 3rd for that.
And guys that give you more size, similar explosiveness. Taking an offensive tackle at a BYU in round 3. Running back Trey Sermon out of Ohio State in round 4. I don't know. I don't like Trey Sermon to me. Like we're getting a bunch of cookie cutter type backs, right? To me, he's like the big physical. He's got some good speed, but he's not, Travis Etienne breakaway guy. I think he's too similar to James Robinson.
Yeah, and then we also brought in the vet to
Carlos Hyde.
Yeah,
they had two. Those guys are very similar. I think they're going to draft a smaller pass-catching speed back at some point. And that may be Etienne. That's the one guy I could see them taking an early shot on.
He's a home run hitter, that guy, no doubt.
Edge rusher. Who's the guy? Deo, how do you say his name, out of Vanderbilt, Tony?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Odeyingbo?
Odeyingbo?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I'm asking you. I think doesn't his brother play for the Vikings? If I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
I think he does.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy with that name on the Vikings.
Or outside
back
or
pass
something
rusher.
Like that. Yeah, right.
And this guy's an edge rusher out of Vanderbilt in round 4. Wow. A corner out of Oklahoma State, Rodarius Williams in round 5. Anthony Schwartz, a wide receiver from Auburn in round 5. And Avery Williams, a corner from Boise State, was one man's stuff
it's so
right
hard
there.
It's got to be so hard to pick, like rounds 4 through 7.
All right, let's get Darren on the line next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Darren.
Happy Friday. So listen, I know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be drafted number 1. I'll say this real quick. And Fields is going to be number 2. They've been 1 and 2 for the last couple of years, and it always happens this way. Somebody moves in like Wilson did, but I'm telling you, San Fran is taking. They did not make that move to take.
San Fran doesn't have the second pick.
Well, they're taking the second quarterback. I'm saying they're taking Fields, not taking. I'm talking about as far as the quarterbacks go. But what would you think, Mike? And don't throw me off the air. I'll hang up and listen. But
everyone who says that is just you're just cutting your own legs out from under you, man. It means you're about to say something dumb. Go ahead.
No. I'm asking you seriously. Since Jacksonville has so many holes, and we've talked about this at length, and Jacksonville has some picks, why not? And quarterbacks are y'all gone through them, and how many have won Super Bowls and all this sort of thing? The number 1 pick, and Fields and Lawrence have been 1 and 2 for so long. Why not trade back one spot with the Jets, pick up Fields, okay? And then you pick up the 23rd, the 25th, and the 33rd, and then you get their first round next year. I mean,
wait a minute. You just named a bunch of picks that Jags already own. You said you pick up the 25th, the 33rd. They already have those picks.
Yeah, but you're going to get the 23rd from the Jets this year.
Okay.
And Fields.
Yeah.
And you can turn around and trade up and get Pitts.
You could, maybe, depending on what you're willing to give to get it. So what are you giving to get Pitts in that scenario?
I'm gonna give up the 23rd. I'm gonna give up the 25th, and then I'll give up next year's first.
Okay, what if that's not enough? Because it took San Francisco giving 3 first-round picks to move up from 12 to 3. Now you want to move up from 25 or 23 to what? 4 to get this done?
Yeah.
Okay, and what makes you think paying less to move up more spots is going to happen?
I just think because, well, number 1, I think San Fran made a stupid trade. I think they made a stupid trade.
Okay.
As far as that goes.
All right. Thank you, Darren. Not happening. No. Here's what I think of it. No. Trevor Lawrence is better, in my opinion, than Justin Fields. I'm not going to play this. Let's take this. I don't care what history tells me about how many number 1 overall quarterbacks won the Super Bowl with the team that drafted him. Let me ask you this. How many second quarterbacks in the draft won the Super Bowl? How many third quarterbacks selected in the draft won the Super Bowl? Guess what? It's hard to win the damn Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'll take the better quarterback, period.
Yeah.
All the rest of this, man, if he turns out to be what you think he is, I mean, imagine going, you know what? I could, we're going to pass on Patrick Mahomes. We're going to get the next guy here. And how many players, even with Deshaun Watson before his legal troubles, who throw Trubisky out the window, they went in the same draft.
Right.
How many players would you have to package with Deshaun Watson to get Patrick Mahomes? I don't think there's think there's a trade you could make. I don't think Kansas City would take any combination of Houston Texan players and give up Patrick Mahomes. Anybody.
Any team.
And as we talked about when the Jaguars ascended to the number 1 pick, and these kind of conversations started coming up, well, that doesn't guarantee you anything. The level of prospect that Trevor Lawrence is compared to is Elway and Manning and Luck.
Right.
You look at what those guys did in their career, that level of prospect has that level of success. It's not as simple as the number 1 pick doesn't always work out for football. No, it's no guarantee, but they talk about Trevor in a group with those guys. He's not grouped just with quarterbacks who go number 1. He's grouped with the cream of the crop of quarterbacks that go number 1.
They're not mentioning any other quarterback in this class in that status.
No,
at all.
not
They're
close.
not saying, well, Fields is like Luck. I mean, they're not
A lot of people
think
think Fields will be the 5th quarterback selected in this draft. Now, me personally, I think that's crazy. Regardless, I'll say this. If they thought Fields was no different than Lawrence, then they should get that haul from the Jets and say, look, you want Trevor Lawrence? Here's your one opportunity to rectify your screw-up by winning a couple of games last year. But I don't think they feel anywhere close to that way. Right. It's my guess. Anyway, I don't feel that close to that way.
I'm interested to see. I mean, we're all interested. Do they stay at 25? Do they try to move up, or do they trade down? 33? Do they try to get in?
Right.
You know, like what if there's someone at that bottom of that first round and they're sitting there at 33 and they're like, we got to have this guy. He's the next guy on our board.
There's so many permutations, Tom, right?
No,
because
I know.
You move up from 33, move up one spot, you've got the 5th-year option now, right, on a rookie contract.
Good point.
But if you don't, And once that board resets overnight, you're in the catbird seat
Totally.
for everybody who's desperate to get that one player on their board to come to you. So, I really hope they don't move off the 33rd pick.
What about 25? You think they're sticking?
Up, down. I don't want to include the 33rd pick though in any move up.
Yeah, you may have to.
Now, look, if it's Kyle Pitts, that's a different story. But it's not going to. You're not going to get in that range. To me, there's not a guy that stands out to me, and they may feel differently, that there's not that one guy that stands out so much that I have to have him. Like, I mean, would you be upset with Trayvon Merrick? Would you be upset with Christian Barmore? Would you be upset with to me, there's like so many guys. It's you're not a player away at that point in time.
Right.
Now, look, I'll say this. If you thought maybe the one exception for me, if Christian Darrisaw,
I was just going to mention a kid from Virginia Tech.
Right, the left tackle.
A little.
And especially like the idea of getting to like 20 where Indy picks at 21. And that is clearly the biggest need that they have on their football team is left tackle. And if you thought he was the long-term blindside protector for Trevor Lawrence and you could get up 5 spots, let's say with the 45th pick, wouldn't necessarily hate that.
Right.
You know?
Right. You probably have to add more than that, I would think. But
maybe, but 5 spots.
Yeah,
you know, you never know.
Could
be the team at 20, and I'm trying to think who has the 20th pick. Chicago is 20, maybe? Might be Chicago.
Sure.
Should be
Washington
around there,
is 19. Anyway, they might say, hey, you know what? We got 6 guys. We can pick up the 45th pick in this draft.
Right.
It's not a bad deal.
No, right.
Slide back 5 spots.
That's right. That's right.
I think they'll be open to whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you think's most likely? Up, down, or stick?
I think they're going to make a move with the 25 to go up. If somebody falls. You know what I mean? There's got to be a slide, like either Darrisaw or somebody like that. And what are you going to get up to is the question, you know?
And what are you willing to give? Right. Like if you get just that 45th pick alone, that's a guy you're saying, that's a guy who's a core part of my team for the next 5 years. You know?
25th is an odd number. You know what I mean?
We're not used to picking outside the top 10. We don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, right. What are we doing here?
How have all these teams managed all these years? All right, Darren, thank you for the call. Anyone who wants to suggest not taking Trevor Lawrence or not ending up with Trevor Lawrence is going to go the same route. Don't hang up on me. Yeah. Don't hang up on me.
Do you have a reputation for doing that,
Yes,
Mike?
I do have that reputation, actually.
No.
Yes.
No way.
All right, this date in football coming up, the gems from around the National Football League. We'll hear a little bit in hour number 2 from Trevor Lawrence, his part of his SI interview, and Urban Meyer on with Michael Irvin as well, and let you enjoy that as a foreshadowing of things to come in a couple of weeks. With Tony Smith, Tom McManus, and E.T., I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
And now, this date in football history.
All right, taking a look at this date in football history, April the 16th. Let me find what my notes say about what happened on this date in football history. Here you go. Got a couple of famous players born on this date, including Dick Night Train Lane. You've heard the name before, but I didn't realize this about his story. He played football at a community college and was not drafted. And in 1948, this is post-World War II.
Wow.
He joined the Army for 4 years. And so he hadn't played football except Army camp football on the bases, and he was a wide receiver and apparently tore up those Army boys and decides to show up at the Rams facility one day with a scrapbook of his clippings from back when he played. And they're like, all right, why don't you come and try out? And the very first practice, he's running down Crazy Legs Hirsch, who had a reputation of being like a guy you just couldn't catch. And so the coach was like, yeah, made the team. I mean, after one day.
Wow.
Went out there in his rookie season in 12 games, had 14 interceptions, which
Holy
is
cow.
still the NFL record.
Wow.
To this date.
That's unbelievable.
Made 7 Pro Bowls, 3-time first-team All-Pro, member of the All-1950s team. He had 27 interceptions in his first 3 years in the National Football League. 14, 3, and then 10 in his third year. 68 in total, which is good for 4th all-time.
Incredible.
A member of the NFL's 50th anniversary team when it came out, 75th anniversary team, and, of course, the NFL's 100th anniversary team as well. In 1999, Sporting News named him the 20th best professional football player of the 20th century. He went into the Hall of Fame in 1974. Dick Night Train Lane passed away in 2002 at the age of 73. Would have been 93 years old today. That's called getting it done as an undrafted
That's unbelievable.
free agent.
Yep.
And on the other end of the spectrum, happy 51st to Steve Empman, who was the first overall pick by the Colts in 1990.
Yeah.
Spent 3 years in Indy, 3 other seasons in the National Football League, played a total of 50 games with 19 starts, and then was out of the league. Remember, they had, Quentin Coriat, I think, was the second pick, right? They had first and second overall. And they took a couple of defensive front seven guys.
They had the first 2 picks.
First 2 picks, Empman and Coriat, and neither one of them had anything.
Coriat was pretty good.
But it didn't live up to number 2
Not
overall
for number
pick
2, right.
status. But anyway, that's what we have for you on this date in football history.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston is signing former Green Bay Packers guard Lane Taylor. Taylor was only able to play in 1 game last season before suffering a torn ACL. He turns 32 years old in November and becomes the 30th free agent acquisition by the Houston Texans during this offseason. Seattle has signed defensive end Alden Smith after a visit with the team this week. Smith spent last season with the Dallas Cowboys after being suspended by the NFL for the previous 4 years. He had 5 sacks and 48 tackles while starting all 16 games last year for Dallas. The Atlanta Falcons have signed return specialist wide receiver running back Cordero Patterson to a 1-year deal. Arizona restricted free agent linebacker Dennis Gardeck has signed his 1-year restricted free agent tender with the team. Gardeck, an undrafted free agent, was second on the team in sacks last season. Ian Rappaport reported that the Las Vegas Raiders are waiving defensive end Arden Key and defensive tackle Maurice Hurst. Key was a third-round pick of the Raiders in 2018. He has 3 sacks and 49 tackles in 3 seasons. Hurst was a 5th-round pick by the Raiders in 2018. He has 8 sacks and 76 tackles in his first 3 years in the league. And the NFL announced partnerships with Caesars Entertainment, DraftKings, and FanDuel yesterday, making the sportsbook operators the first official sports betting partners of the National Football League. The partnerships are for 5 years with exit options for the league after the 3rd and 4th years of the deal, and are reportedly worth just shy of $1 billion combined.
Nice, if you can get it. Tell you that. All right, we got a couple on the line, then we're going to come back after that. We've got some audio from Trevor Lawrence, some audio from Urban Meyer, and a little bit from Steve Spurrier, who was on this morning. By the way, shouldn't get buried. We are your official flagship home in Jacksonville, FLA, for Florida Gator sports.
All right.
So
beautiful.
Glad to have them in the fold as
Absolutely.
well. Imagine how poorly you need to mismanage a sports station if you have the Gators as one of your primary properties and you still decide to fold your hand. I'm just saying. You know, unlike Trevor, I do have a chip on my shoulder. I'll tell you. I'll just say. Let's go to Sam out in Oakleaf next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Sam.
Morning, brother. So I was just thinking, you get Lawrence at 1 and trade what you got to trade with Atlanta for that 4. You get Lawrence and Pitts. Now, you can say, we're going to have to give up too much. But ask yourself, would you give whatever it is that we got to get up for that number 4? Would you give it up for Mahomes and Kelsey?
Would I do it for Kelsey? Is what you mean? Because we already got our Mahomes end of it in Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, that's the question. Here's the question though. If you're Atlanta, and you've got the opportunity, let's say, to trade down to 9, and Denver is offering you a comparable package, like maybe they're going to offer you the 9th pick in the draft, their 2nd this year, and a 1st-rounder next year to only move down 5 spots. Wouldn't that be a lot more attractive? I just don't think Atlanta's going to want to go tumbling down to 25. I think the price would be eye-poppingly astronomical. And so you got to tell me, Sam, what the price is before I tell you if that's too much to pay for a budding Travis Kelce. I mean, what are you willing to give?
I'd give up everything.
You give up everything. You give up.
And Lawrence, I'd give up the rest of the draft for the year.
All right. That's not going to be enough. You're not going to move up from 25.
You don't think so?
No. To move up from 25 to 4 without any – look, San Fran gave up 3 first-round picks and a third-rounder to move from 12 to 3. You think you're moving from 25 to 4 without giving up more than a second-rounder?
So in your opinion, what do you think they'd have to give up?
At least their first-rounder next year, maybe their second-rounder next year as well. I mean, I think it would be like 25, 33, maybe the third-round pick and first- and second-round picks next year. Something I honestly do. I think it'd be something like that. I don't think you're getting away with it without adding next year's first-round pick into the mix. And as much as we all want to have high expectations and hopes for the rookie seasons of these guys, that could be a top 10 pick.
Right.
Again.
Yeah, right. No, that's way too much. I love Pitts. Pitts is phenomenal, man. I'd love to have him.
If I could get,
I'm not giving all that up for him.
I just don't see, especially when there are going to be quarterback-hungry teams with higher picks than 25 bidding to move up to number 4.
Right.
That's if Atlanta doesn't just stick and take Kyle Pitts themselves, right? If they're considering Kyle Pitts, they got to look at it the same way you do. Like, well, wait a minute. Would we rather have all this? They'd rather have Kyle Pitts than all this. Why wouldn't we rather? Because we're closer to winning, we feel.
Right.
And if we had Kyle Pitts, maybe we're a contender right now.
Help our old quarterback out.
Right. I mean,
who still can throw
look,
it.
I'd love to get Kyle Pitts. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's realistic with what you'd have to give up to make that move.
No. And even, it doesn't make any sense to even tease yourself with it until Kyle Pitts gets out of the top 10. And if it gets to that point and you at least think, okay, now he may be in some kind of reasonable range to make a move where we're not having to give away the farm necessarily to make it. But at this point, the way Kyle Pitts is being talked about, believe me, you're not the only team in the league that wants to get their hands on Kyle Pitts.
Let's say he's at 11, right, where the Giants are, and maybe the Giants would take him because I think Evan Ingram might be going into the last year of his deal. But let's say they were willing to trade with you. Would you give 25, 33 in your first next year?
For Pitts?
I think about it.
Yes.
I mean, that's
at 11.
At 11,
yes.
that's what I'm guessing. The cost would be somewhere.
If he
in that
fell
range.
to 11, I would. Yeah, I would do that if I could get him.
I would. I really don't think giving up 25 and all the other picks you have this year, because you're going to have 8 other picks,
I'm not doing
2 seconds, even if you were willing to.
Yeah.
Because we've gone through this week the litany of Jaguar history of picking in these late rounds. It ain't good.
Right.
And I don't think that's a Jaguar thing. I think that's just it's hard to hit on those late round picks.
It is.
Package a bunch of those together.
Right.
But I just don't think that the price tag. I think he's off the board by 6 at the latest.
I do too. Yeah, I don't
6
think
at
he's
the latest.
lasting.
I don't think he gets past Miami.
Right.
I absolutely don't. And there's some scenarios where if Atlanta desires a quarterback, they could trade back to 6 because Miami comes up for Pitts. Cincinnati's not taking a quarterback at 5.
Right.
And then Atlanta still gets their quarterback.
That's right.
At 6. So
heck yeah.
Anyway, let's get Jerome on the west side in before we break. Jerome, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Good, thanks.
Good.
What's up?
I got a question for y'all. What do y'all think about? I don't know if y'all heard of him. The safety out of USD, number 15.
I didn't know who he was until I saw ET put his name on the board there. Talanoa Hufanga, I believe is how you say it. I don't know anything about him personally. Like I couldn't give you a scouting report, but I decided to look it up while you were on hold there. And this is just one source. NFL.com grades him at a 5.99 on an 8-point scale compared to Trayvon Merrick, who's at a 6.35. Here is how their scale breaks down. If you are in the 5.8 and 5.9 range, you're a backup / special teamer. Okay, if you're in the 6.3 to 6.4, you'll be a starter within your first 2 seasons. Is how they project that. So that I don't know a thing about the guy. Maybe the Jags like him, but
Morig's only a 6.25 though.
He's a 6.35.
Oh, 6.35. So
6.35.
he's a starter your second year.
Will be a starter within the first 2 seasons. I mean, because even though it sounds close, 5.99, 6.35, there's a lot of 6.1 to 6.2. They call a good backup who could become a starter. A 6.0 is a developmental traits-based prospect. And then at the 5.8 to 5.9 range, you're a backup or a special teamer.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the safety class is very deep, is it? After the kid from TCU,
there are a couple like Richie Grant out of UCF.
Okay,
get some praise.
Okay.
There are a few, but I wish I could tell Jerome. I don't have any personal knowledge of this.
Yeah,
guy.
right.
So
Right.
Just going on these reports. I'm looking for the NFL number on Trevor Lawrence. By the way, just for comparison's sake,
10.
right?
Wait, this only goes up to 8.
It only goes up to 8. We broke it.
10. This guy goes to 10.
No, I'm going to see if I can find the one because I want to see their number in that same grading system.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right, let's come back. Let's hear from Trevor Lawrence. Let's hear from Urban Meyer, a little bit from Steve Spurrier, all that good stuff coming up. Jaguars Today, packed full of audio next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Well, my favorite part of the day has always been to go be around players and get in the weight room with the players and talk, get to know the people you're going to coach. And in January, I have not to this date. It's April, whatever it is, 12th, I believe. It's April 12th. I've not had a team meeting yet because you're not allowed. Now I've talked to all of our players, most of them, because they're got really good quality people here. They've been in my office. We've gotten to know them a little bit. The free agents I met after the fact when we signed them. So it's just a whole personal piece of getting to know the players. And that's something I miss dearly. I can't wait. A week from today, we're supposed to have our first phase 1.
That's Urban Meyer talking about how he hates not being able to meet with his players up until this point. Trevor Lawrence is not one of his players yet. He's talking about his veteran players.
He's met with him.
Yeah.
On some Zoom calls.
Yeah. Seems like he's talked with a few of the guys.
Yeah, like Miles Jack, I think I saw has met with, at least talked to him a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know, what the rules are at this time of year. Are you allowed to just chat guys up, or?
I don't know.
Can you go work out? Into the weight room and stuff?
I think so.
Yeah, the weight room
coach
should
should
be
come
open.
in there and be like,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing? Kind
Right.
of stuff, I would think.
I think they're not supposed to be able to,
Official.
be going over
Right.
plays and things
Let's
like
get on
that.
the board and
Yeah,
work
just
it
kind
out.
of rub elbows.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Trevor Lawrence, we've been talking about his SI cover story. There's a video interview that he's got up at Sports Illustrated as well that you can check out. Just wanted to play a couple of thoughts from Trevor Lawrence on that. And probably really this one, when you listen to it, it's kind of will ease your mind as you try to pick your way through that article on, what motivates this guy? What's driving this guy? Does he want to be great? Here's Trevor Lawrence asked what he would consider to be a successful career.
What would you consider a successful NFL career for you?
Success is a hard word. Obviously, winning and losing, that's kind of what you get measured by in football and in sports in general. So obviously that's one thing, but I think just successful is more so how I live my life, type of husband and dad I am one day. That's a little bit outside of the game, but I just think that that's a successful life for me. But as far as the game goes, obviously, dream of winning the Super Bowl. That's going to be probably my biggest goal my whole career, and then hopefully can do that a few times. So, and you just don't know how things are going to work out. So obviously, going to a new city, you got to figure all that out. But just excited to give all I have to a new city and start my family wherever that's at. So just really pumped.
All right, a few Super Bowls. Are we better now?
Yeah.
We all better
But
now?
I thought this was a guy who didn't care about
better.
winning. And, none of
But
that
I feel
mattered.
so much
Tone,
better.
I mean, it's his own dad saying, he's not driven by winning the Super Bowl. He's just not. I'm
Right.
paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
Clearly, I mean, I'm sure Trevor Lawrence has allowed himself to close his eyes and imagine the confetti falling.
Yeah, right.
As he hoists the
Holding the
Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
How could you not?
Again, when you read an article, you just never know the tone and the body language, and it's just tough to really, you could look at that article and you could be like, you could read that and be like, what the hell? The kid doesn't care that much about winning or losing. You could get that take from that just based on the way that article's laid out, right? I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way, but
Yeah, we're watching the
Glad to
country
hear what he
react to
said.
it that way. Yeah.
Right.
One more here from Trevor Lawrence from the SI interview, and he was just asked if he's had the opportunity to pick the brain of any NFL quarterbacks yet.
Up to this point, not really. I know Deshaun just from the Clemson ties a little bit. We haven't talked in a while, but I talked to Peyton Manning briefly. Other than that, there's a lot of guys that honestly I plan on hopefully this offseason getting in touch with and just picking their brains on one, football, but also life and just kind of adapting and getting used to how life changes from college to the NFL, because even I've noticed so far how it's just been different. Other things get involved, business, and you're not in school anymore, but you got a lot of obligations that are different. So just trying to get used to that, set a schedule for myself, and really stay on top of things. I really would like to get other people's perspectives, so that's something I definitely want to do.
Deshaun's a little preoccupied right now. So
don't ask him for any massage advice.
No, I might want to look elsewhere on that one. But other than that, just Again, seems like he has pretty level head on his
He's
shoulders.
been to Manning camp. He's been out there, yeah.
So here is Urban Meyer, specifically on what he looks for in a quarterback and how Trevor Lawrence checks all the boxes, all 5 qualities that he's looking for.
Trevor Lawrence certainly checks all the boxes, and I've made this it's really since I started coaching. The number one thing that every great quarterback shares is a competitive spirit, the elite competitor. Number 2 is they have to be tough. This is the most unique position in all of sport, not just football, sport. You have to know what all 21 other people are doing on that field all the time. And you have to be a leader. I've had quarterbacks say, well, I'm just not a good leader. And I said, you're not a good quarterback. You can't. You have to elevate those around you. And the quarterback, all 10 other players are going to be looking at you in between plays that you better know what you're doing. So number 1 is competitor. Number 2 is toughness. Number 3 is can you lead yourself and lead others? If you can elevate those around you, you can play quarterback and be a great quarterback. And then the last 2 are intelligence and adaptability. Nowadays, Mahomes is a great quarterback because, first of all, he's a great skill set guy, but he adapts to every situation so well. Defenses are so good now. You have to be able to adapt. So those are the 5 qualities that I look for in a quarterback.
I was hoping he was going to add a 6th, and it was hair.
Because he's got that too, but we're thinking of keeping that Minshew guy around just in case.
Yeah, got to have that flow. One more here from Urban Meyer joining Michael Irvin on his podcast. Just asked about how Urban feels like he can change the culture here in Jacksonville.
Number 1 is with great clarity, you set the expectations and you demand people to live up to that. The second one is talent acquisition. And I want to go get the same type of people that Jimmy Johnson did when he selected Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. I want to win. The one common denominator about that team at Dallas, and I've talked to Coach Johnson about this, different shapes, sizes, backgrounds. You wanted to win. Yeah. And you got real serious about winning. And if I can get that in my locker room, we will win. And you have to develop it.
We said yesterday, Louis Riddick talked about on ESPN, a little uneasiness with the comments he read in the SI piece. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I highlighted was he said, I don't know Trevor Lawrence. Never really talked to Trevor Lawrence. I don't have that comfort level with him. I think Urban Meyer, to this point, is probably engaged with Trevor Lawrence enough. I mean, when he's checking the first thing, competitiveness. I mean, if that's your takeaway from that article, that you're questioning that's the first thing on his list. He's like, check. Every box is checked. It's not an issue.
Well, think of this, though. What you just heard Trevor say feels different than what you read.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's so I like what he said. Let's go with what he says.
Right. There were similarities.
Wrote about him.
And I think that if that had made it into the article, like, hey, I want to be balanced. I want to be a good person, a good father, a good husband, all these things.
And win Super Bowls.
By the way, I'd like to win a Super Bowl. That's my main goal. Hopefully a few of them.
Right.
Okay.
Done.
And probably
He's
right.
got no problems whatsoever. That's great. We want you to have a good family life, and we want you to win Super Bowls.
All right, so the ball coach was on the drill this morning, Steve Spurrier, talking about the Gators hopping on board on 1010XL, but also talking about his thoughts on Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor's got all the talent and ability you're looking for, and he's 6'6", and can run and can move around, and a wonderful person. I think he just got married, so his total focus will be on trying to be the best quarterback he can be for Jacksonville. And he's a good team guy also. And when you quarterbacks like that, you can have a chance to really win and win big, just like when Tom Brady came to the Tampa Bay Bucks. The talent was there, but they needed that one leader on the team. The coaches can only do so much, and then you really have to have those strong leaders, especially at quarterback. Quarterback's a key position, as everybody knows, and when he's a really good guy and good player, that's when you have an opportunity to win championships.
All right, there you go. Steve Spurrier on Trevor Lawrence, who, by the way, we did look up the grade at NFL.com. Right? Mm-hmm. We told you, like, Trayvon Merrick, for instance, was a 6.35. Trevor Lawrence comes in at a 7.4. The next highest prospect, Kyle Pitts, is 7.19.
Wow.
Pitts at a 7.19 would be
Pro Bowl, right?
Considered Pro Bowl talent, right, at 7.19. Perennial All-Pro is where Trevor Lawrence fits. Now, granted, that doesn't mean NFL.com is always perfectly going to grade these guys, but on their grading scale, he is considered to be a perennial All-Pro.
One of the two best quarterbacks in the league. Perennially.
Yeah, right.
Year after year after year. That's the kind of prospect he is. Yep. 8.0 is the perfect prospect, by the way.
That's Elway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he might have been something approaching that back in the day.
Well, like what Spurrier said about Brady, elevating. That's what Urban's talking about. That's what we need out of the QB, elevating people around you. So I'm looking forward to it. Listen,
2 weeks.
Again, go by what he says. What we just heard. Go listen to that over and over again. You'll be fine.
Go listen to the Trevor Cast as well and everybody else.
There you go.
Telling you very similar things.
That's right.
About Trevor Lawrence. All right, we will return on the other side. The Carpet Man Flooring has your question of the day that you've been weighing in on in terms of the Jags win total projecting for 2021. We'll give you our thoughts on that when we wrap up the broadcast week here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, let's tie up a few loose ends before we run out of time today here on the program. Tony Smith, Fat Prophet, Tom McManus, Meathead55 on Twitter.
Yep.
Mike Dempsey, just General Meathead, and the wonderful E.T.
It's a term of endearment.
I know, absolutely, without question. E.T.'s going to run us down, recapping today's question of the day.
The Jaguars Today question of the day brought to you by the Carpet Man, where estimates are free all day, every day. Reads, the William Hill Sportsbook has the Jacksonville Jaguars set for the 2021 season to win 6 games. So for the 2021 season, would you take the over, the under, or does 6 games sound just about right to you?
All right, let's make this today's 10-10 take, E, if we could do that.
10-10. This 10-10 take is brought to you by Peninsular Pest Control at CritterGetter.com.
All right, I'm trying not to just be stupidly, irrationally exuberant about the whole situation. You know what I mean? Just like, wow, we got a great coach, great quarterback. You could turn things around fast sometimes. It happens sometimes in the NFL. Other times it's a little bit more of a process. But I would take the over on the 6. And maybe we're all fooling ourselves, thinking it's going to be, let's not forget, this is a 1-15 football team. You know, as somebody pointed out, very few teams win fewer than 6 games. And, well, you were one of them, you know, and you dug the biggest hole for yourself to climb out of. But I would think, 7-10. I'm not saying I'm going to be doing backflips over 7-10.
No.
But I think they can get to 7-8 wins in a 17-game schedule. So I would take the over on this. I wouldn't bet the mortgage, but I would feel more strongly certainly on that side than trying to play the under.
Yeah, going through their opponents. We don't know what the schedule is yet. Won't for about another month, probably at this point at least. But you go through the opponents they have this year. At Cincinnati, you figure they're capable of winning that game.
Yeah. Capable of losing.
At Houston.
Yeah.
That's a game that you feel like they can win. At Indianapolis, obviously. Houston again. Indianapolis again. Tennessee home and away. However you feel about those. But say you give them 2 wins against Houston and a win against Cincinnati. Right? They're capable of losing all those games too. But that's 3.
Give us another division win.
Buffalo here.
That's tough.
Miami here.
They're good.
Arizona here.
They're coming up.
San Francisco here.
They expect to be a lot better.
Denver here.
We should get them.
Yep, that's probably 4. At the LA Rams.
That's tough.
At the New England Patriots.
That's tough.
At the New York Jets. So say you're at 5 now. At Seattle. And then home against Atlanta. That's right at 6.
Yeah.
You know.
And look, there are probably a couple of those teams will be worse than we expect them to, Tom. We went through this last week. It's amazing to think that, I don't know if it's ever happened like this. We've never had a year where potentially 4 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, It's never happened. But depending on where these landing spots are, Trevor Lawrence is going to match up with Zach Wilson because they play the Jets. They play San Francisco, so he's going to potentially, if he's whoever that quarterback is, if they're starting, they're going to play them. Denver, going to play them. New England, going to play them. Atlanta, going to play them. I mean, all the teams that are expected to look at these quarterback prospects, they're all on the Jaguars schedule this year.
No doubt.
Kind of crazy.
It is. I look at it this way. You better have at least 7. You know?
I'm with you, Tom. Yeah.
You got all the hype. You got the coach. You got the quarterback. You got, it's – I'm not going to say it's a failure if they don't, but, man, if they win like 5 games, I'm going to be like, oh, God, here we freaking go again. You know what I mean? I don't know. I expect more. Now, granted, you go from 1, realistically, what could they do? San Fran did what? 4-12 one year to 12-4 the next.
Yeah,
Right?
Dolphins gained 10 games when they signed Chad Pennington back in the day. They went from like a 1-15 to like an 11-win team,
Right.
overnight.
And what about this year? Weren't from the year before the Dolphins? Didn't they go like 10-5 or 10-6, 11-5, something like that?
They
this year?
improved.
Not dramatic.
A big
4
bunch.
or 5 games.
They had
probably.
the 5th pick this year.
Well,
where
the
they got
year
two
before
or
they had-
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
They got
right,
two.
yeah.
And of course, Andrew Luck coming in took over a
Yeah.
2-win team, and they won 11 games right
The
away.
next year?
Yeah,
Okay,
his
so,
first 3 years, he was 11
I think
and 5.
7 at the minimum. You got the QB that everyone's talking about. You got the coach that's a winner. You're implementing wins. I like what they've done so far. Yeah.
70.6% of about 300 votes agree on the over. 9.6 on the under, and 19.8 say that 6 sounds exactly right as of right now. Yesterday's poll wrapped up the best undrafted free agent signing in Jaguars history. This is with apologies to Tom McManus because you signed with the Saints first.
Yeah.
So we were going with.
It doesn't matter. I'm not one of the best. It's okay.
Oh shit! No. Look, you don't.
I'll
think,
survive.
Like
I will.
you don't think you'd
Yeah.
stack up? You know, in at
I
least
didn't play long. You know, here's the reality. I played. I have 5 credited years, but I really played 3.
Okay.
Because of injuries. Out of those 3 years, I played 50 games roughly. I think a little bit less, and I started half. So
Okay.
pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad for a former.
That might
you know,
qualify as like a
bartender.
top 10. You
Yeah,
know,
so I-
undrafted.
if I played longer, who knows? But
Here are the guys we had in
you
the
know.
poll. We got exactly 700 votes on this, by the way,
wow,
which was
cool.
fun. Montel Owens, Avery Jones, Alan Hearns, and James Robinson. That was
that's
the order
a
they came in.
no-brainer there.
Well, Montel made 2 Pro Bowls, man.
Oh,
You know,
Montel
that's the
was.
thing. He was a special teamer, though. But
play
yes,
the
you're
trumpet,
right,
too,
though.
that dude.
In terms of the results, it was a no-brainer. James Robinson,
Yeah,
59.9%.
well, he's fresh on the mind too. You know,
Oh, absolutely. Alan Hearns got 27%. Avery Jones and Montel Owens basically split the other 13%
Oh wow!
of the
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah, I thought
Like
I'd
I
told you
saw the video of Hearns crawling off the field against the
Right.
Chargers
Right.
because the discussion was going on with Julian Edelman. Is he the toughest receiver of this generation?
Yeah.
And so Jaguars fans were like, no. Like, they're posting the video of Alan Hearns, who is at the end of his 4-year run with Jacksonville, getting blown up again in the middle of the field with Blake just throwing it up high, and Alan going up and making the play and then crawling off the field to give him a chance to win that football game. Hearns got killed for 4 years with the way that Blake threw the ball and somehow managed to play 4 seasons here, put up a 1,000-yard season, and, man, that play, they don't win that day. He doesn't get off the field in that moment. They don't beat the Chargers, and they're probably going on the road in the first round of the playoffs that year instead of hosting Buffalo.
Yeah.
It changed a bunch, him getting off the field.
So, yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, I think with Edelman, I think it was just that he transitioned from the college to the pro game and became that slot receiver that now everybody – well, Wes Welker was before him, so Wes probably kind of set the stage. Did you see that video of Edelman taking the punt back and then what Belichick says to Wes Welker, like right after? Did you see that?
What did he say?
He says, hey, have you ever heard of Wally Pipp?
Oh, your boy.
And he goes, no, why? He goes, well, Wally Pipp was before Lou Gehrig.
Right.
Basically like,
Right,
this guy's.
like he just took your
he
spot
just took
right
your
there.
spot, I think. Thanks,
yeah,
Coach.
by the way, Julian Edelman,
Appreciate
very
you.
good player. No way he should sniff the Hall of Fame.
I mean,
it
you're
is
kidding me?
nonsense. Please.
Whoever brought it up is an idiot. Come on, you know the answer is no, so why even bring it up?
Right.
Come on.
Like even
Give
Gronk,
the
they
guy
asked Gronk
credit.
about it, and Gronk was like, "We'll see." You know, like he didn't want to look kind of crazy.
I don't know why we have the. Look, the guy had a tremendous career, and he was a great player.
By the way, Belichick's 69th birthday today,
Yeah.
to which PFT thought Rob Gronkowski might reach out on the special occasion. Just quickly looking at the poll results from the last week plus here. Freddie T knocked off Tony Baselli, 54 to 42% roughly for the best first-round pick. MJD dominated the second-round conversation, 2/3 of the vote compared to 13.6 for Tony Brackens. Brandon Linder won a very close vote for the third-rounder over Yannick Ngakoue, 29.5 to 28.4, with both Vince Manawai and Aaron Beasley pulling over 20%.
All right.
Of the vote, let's see, David Garrard, blowout winner for the best fourth-round selection, 87.2. He got the highest percentage in any round.
Wow.
And even when we went head-to-head with Rob Johnson, he dominated him there. by a 3-1. Scobie easily won the fifth round.
Heck yeah.
Got 73%. Telvin Smith was a distant second. It's pretty good, right?
Ooh, that's a good one-on-one now.
Gardner Minshew dominated the sixth round, as he should have, in my opinion, 79.6. I'm surprised it wasn't higher.
Yeah.
And then Logan Cook won a very close. I mean, Logan Cook's one of the best punters in the league.
Great. I had Rob Meyer in
So
that
did
one.
I.
Yeah.
And Rob Meyer came in second, but Logan Cook, recency bias, got 28%. Meyer got 25.8. Rashad Jennings got 25.3. Bobby McCray got 20.7. So
that's a nice close
pretty good
one.
spread. Much rather have those seventh rounders and the undrafted guys than the sixth rounders collectively.
Easy.
The sixth round is not their round historically.
Tough
I don't
round.
know whose round it is other than New England, honestly.
Right.
But.
Exactly.
All
Only
right.
once, too.
We are done. All the damage we can do for 1 week, so let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Come to the Yulee Grand Opening the 22nd through 24th with huge raffle prizes like a 4x4 ATV and a $2,500 tire and wheel package.
Joe C. is here. Hello,
What's
Joseph. Well, the Gators are coming.
Yes,
The Gators are coming.
yes.
The Gators are coming, which is, in radio terms, is a huge get. For 1010 XL.
You took a nice swipe earlier, which was I think we all agree there. But yeah, it was good.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was good to kind of see this thing through, knowing that we're such a strong station, such a strong presence, and this is to say that the flagship on Saturday will be Florida. The flagship on Sunday will be the Jaguars.
Powerful.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And we'll also still, Steve does a great job of making sure that we get some Georgia in, some
Absolutely.
Miami in, some Navy
Look,
in.
It's just not about rooting interest. This is like, I'm just like from a standpoint of, what radio products have stood the test of time in this market.
Yeah.
Right. We got the top two, baby. We got, just unbelievable for that great coup for 1010 XL. Very happy about that. So beyond that, what are you guys going to be getting into
we're
today?
We're going to be kind of all Gatored up today.
Nice.
And we'll have Mick Hubert, voice of the Gators, on. As he'll talk about now coming on 1010. And then we'll go from there to Dan Mullen, the head coach of the Gators, at 1 o'clock. And then Jeremy
Kyle Pitts,
Foley,
the new tight end for the Jaguars.
yeah,
Come on, right after.
Oh, you
You got Foley too. So you're going Mullen.
Mick, Mullen,
Foley.
And then we'll also start out with Josh Lambo, who has a little adopt-a-pet thing going on.
Oh, yeah,
which is
right.
Gonna
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
It's going to
That's
be
right.
great, so we'll catch him at 12:15. But it really is going to be a guest-centric show today because we had basically already lined up Lambo, and then everything just kind of fell in place.
Yeah.
After that, so.
That's quite a lineup to pull together on short notice. So enjoy the coverage. Did you hear the Trevor Lawrence audio cuts?
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you almost take a little bit of a sigh of like, okay?
Well, two things real quick. We had JJ pull some of this stuff yesterday, and you read the quotes. You're like, come on, go find these quotes, and it sounded so much better when you heard him say it.
Right.
And then also in today's world, Tommy Mack can appreciate this. There's sports psychologists rule more of our sports industry now more than ever. You're not a loser if you lose a football game. You're not a loser if you lose a golf tournament. You know how that goes. That's more of a thing now. But then also Michael Rosenberg, we had him on, the guy who did the piece, and I came away. He was not trying to push him into a corner. He appreciated the fact that he was honest and he said what he thought, and he isn't going to be measured by football, but he still wants to win. The soundbite you guys played earlier is the same soundbite we played yesterday. Dude wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Dude doesn't plan on losing. Dude doesn't come in and go, well, if I'm okay, I'm okay. If I'm not, I'm not. That's not the situation. He still has drive and burn. It's just not going to be the
One thing about that,
stamp.
he will be judged on football.
Yeah.
He may not judge himself
exactly.
on football,
I got no
but the
problem with
rest
that.
of us
Right.
are going to judge him almost
But
exclusively
I would rather
on
have
that.
I'd rather have a grounded guy instead of a maniacal guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with
Listen
it.
to the audio, then just read the article because it sounds a lot.
Which of those guys is winning?
Who?
I'll take that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Yeah, right.
But like Brady's a maniacal guy.
Right.
I would put him in the maniacal category.
But the assumption is that maniacal 6th-round guy who has that chip on his shoulder doesn't can outdo the guy who's the number 1 pick overall.
No, you still got to be great. But I'm
that's
just
a
saying,
poor
like,
assumption.
I don't have an issue with somebody being obsessed by the sport because my job isn't to worry about their mental well-being. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
So. But I look, the whole thing. is.
But I look at number one
a big
picks,
hubbub about not
Peyton Manning
much.
had the drive. Troy Aikman had the drive. LeBron had the drive.
Sure.
Eli obviously has rings and hardware, and he was Mr. Mellow. So I look, personality doesn't hardly ever matches up with. You can have intensity, but you also could be a damn good player.
Just win.
Yeah,
Just
That's
win,
all
baby.
we care about.
Just win those few Super Bowls you were talking about there,
Yeah,
Trev.
hey,
We'll
we're
go from
holding
there.
you to that.
All right, Joe, have a good
3
weekend.
seconds.
Good
All right,
show.
fellas.
XO
Enjoy.
Primetime coming up next.
Can't wait.
Tommy Mack's a free agent. Reach out at Meathead55
Yeah, right.
if you need somebody to belt out some rock tunes. He is your guy.
Hoochie coo.
Fat Prophet Tony Smith over here is. I've heard he's a pretty mean. What was it? Guitar player? Where do you belt
I can
him
play
out?
a little guitar.
You know, so maybe
go.
we put a little band together.
Let's
here.
do it.
All right.
We'll just perform in
I'll be
here.
a roadie. That's
nice.
I don't have any skill. So
This guy
I'm
used to surf.
I'm carrying the drums. ET will be your hype man.
You know I
That's
got
right.
you. You know
That's
I got
right.
you. Let's go.
There we
right.
go. ET will warm up the crowd every single night.
That's right.
And be a part of it. All right, that'll do it for the crew here. Jaguars Today will return next week. We'll be a week and a half out from the NFL draft.
Oh,
Tommy
boy.
Mack, have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, man. It's been
Tony
fun.
Smith, likewise.
You too. Thank
ET, have a good one, brother.
Yeah.
See everybody on Monday. I'm Mike Dempsey for all the aforementioned. Thanks for listening all week long. We'll be back with you Monday from 10 to noon on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Go Jacksonville.
There